Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Lilbumblebear's Let's Play. I'm your friend Kristen and I'm here with another wonderful edutainment game. This is Microsoft Oceans. It is very similar to another game I did recently. Well, if you want to call it a game, it's more like a learning educational program. I did another program by the same Microsoft company called Dangerous Creatures. I highly recommend you check it out. If I remember to, I'll put a link in the description box. I've not yet made a dedicated playlist for these type of videos. If I did, I guess they'd be like, I don't know, an encyclopedia playlist. I'm still trying to figure that out, how I would categorize these. So they're just kind of floating around on the channel right now. But yes, I made one called Dangerous Creatures, and it did touch on marine life, but this is solely dedicated to marine life, and it is fascinating. But if you have like a few hours to dedicate to watching Dangerous Creatures, or you want to split it up, it's a fascinating game. You will definitely learn a lot from it. I had so much fun recording for you guys. And yeah, feel free to check that one out. But we're here with Microsoft Oceans. I hope you enjoy. Please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts if you remember this game. Maybe tell me your favorite creature from the ocean. And of course, subscribe for more nostalgic gaming. I have a Twitter and Instagram you can follow. I have a streaming channel and a Discord server that is open to everyone. So if you want to come join and hang out and chat with us, feel free to join it. Links are down below. So just like Dangerous Creatures, I'm going to start off with the guides. I feel like people don't really pay attention to the guides that much. They just click around on the other stuff. But I just love the guides. They're fascinating and they'll show you all the content or most of it. And then we'll check out the other tabs down below. But yes, let's go on some tours with these wonderful guides. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm Kim. Ever since I was a little girl, I've dreamed of sailing around the world alone. Now I'm actually going to try it on my 30-foot sloop, the Serafina. Choose one of my tours if you want to share some highlights from my trip. I'm about to embark on the first leg of my trip, from Seattle to Hawaii. Come on aboard. Most of the time, I won't be able to rely on landmarks like this lighthouse. I've learned all about celestial navigation in case the batteries fail on my GPS. That's the satellite signal system I use to determine my position on the ocean. I've also read books on life at sea, so I sort of know what to expect. Click my picture to cast off.
Whether it's using a sextant, reading a chart, deciphering sonar, or interpreting radar, all sailors need to know something about navigation.
The Serafina is fully loaded with charts, medical supplies, 80 gallons of water, and a 90-day supply of canned food. Mostly corned beef and spaghetti. I'm leaving Seattle and sailing the California Current to San Diego. Then I'll head across the Pacific to Hawaii. Goodbye, land!
Continent. Iceberg. Bay. Glacier. Latitude. Tropics. Nutrient. Gulf Stream. Migration. Tides. Salinity. Pole.
Are currents important? You bet. Many animals depend on these streams in the sea to deliver their food.
Continent. Phytoplankton.
Hey! What was that bump? Only 4 days out and already a family of whales? I can tell by their shapes that these are humpbacks. One just swam under the boat. It's bigger than a Serafina. Look, there's a mom. She feeds her calf 40 gallons of milk a day. That's a big baby.
Toothed whales. Prey. Baleen whales. Krill. Plankton. Migration. Protected species. Parasites. Marine. Fish. Egg. Mammals. Reproduction. Species. Pollution.
The sounds made by these gentle giants once frightened ancient sailors. But today, the songs of humpback whales are music to our ears.
There's a fishing trawler. Swim away, whales! You could drown in those nets. We'd better sail on before the Serafina's rudder gets snagged.
Reproduction. Sonar. Cetaceans. Extinction. Spawn. Silt. Marine.
Commercial fishing means jobs and food for many people. But if we catch all these adult fish now, will there be enough fish in the future?
I made 120 miles yesterday. I'm getting just the right combination of wind and current. At this rate, I'll be in San Diego tomorrow. Imagine, my last chance to have a hamburger for over 3,000 miles.
Wave. Nutrient. Tsunami. Subduction. Earthquake. Harbor. Earthquake. Volcano.
Never underestimate the power of waves. They're both destroyers and creators, constantly reshaping our shorelines.
By the way, in case you're wondering how I sleep, I lash the tiller so the Serafina sails in the right direction while I go below. But I'm not going anywhere right now. 3 days after leaving San Diego, I'm stuck in the horse latitudes, and there's no wind at all.
Circumnavigation. The doldrums. Cape Horn.
muscle power will win the Molokai, a long-distance race between Hawaiian islands. To change crews, fresh paddlers swim to the boat and tired ones bail out. Only 6 hours from start to finish.
Kayak.
There are huge waves off the stern quarter and a brisk trade wind. For a day now, I've had friendly dolphins riding the bow wave and doing acrobatic leaps. I sure appreciate the company. When will I make landfall?
Cetaceans. Social. Bow. Birds. Fish. Ice floe. Pollution.
Like humans, dolphins are curious, intelligent, and playful. But these animals are a lot more graceful underwater than we are.
Finally, Hawaii. Nice to know my navigation's been right so far. Who wants to go surfing for a couple of days? Or how about a visit to a volcano? I'll spend a few days in Hawaii restocking the Serafina. Then it'll be time to sail on. There's some dangerous ocean ahead. If you'd like to come along to see what happens, choose my next tour. Or go off on your own adventure. Have fun.
Environment. Ecology. Sediment. Erosion. Reef. Fish. Island. Freshwater. Pole.
All the water we'll ever have is already here on Earth. It moves from ocean to land to ocean, over and over again.
It's a long way from Hawaii to Australia, so I'm glad you're along for company. Let's go! Who turned the wind off? I've been moving fast on the northeast trades, but now I'm stuck in the doldrums. It's so hot. I've got to be careful with my fresh water supply. Some sailors have been marooned here for weeks. My only consolation is that I get a great light show every night. The plankton light up like the Milky Way, and all sorts of creatures glow like lanterns beneath the surface. Click my picture to see what happens next.
Marine. Predators. Prey. The bends.
How can a soft-bodied octopus protect itself from a toothy attacker? Shoot out a cloud of ink and jet away. It's the only hope.
After 8 days in the doldrums, I finally made the southeast trade winds and I'm moving again. Moving very carefully, that is. The waters here are full of reefs that could put a quick end to my trip. Sometimes I have to climb up the mast to get a good view. The last thing I need is for the Serafina to break up on submerged coral.
Reef. Ecosystem. Volcano. Magma. Mantle. Lava. Plate tectonics. Mid-ocean ridge. Fossil. Environment. Galapagos Islands. Predators.
From an undersea volcano, an island emerges. Add the action of the surf and presto, a beach.
I'm surrounded by sharks! Every now and then one rubs up against the boat. It gives me the chills. This sure isn't the time to fall overboard.
Tropics. Carnivores. Cartilage.
Going fishing? A hungry great white will tackle almost anything. Aren't you glad you're not on the menu?
Territory.
Something on the horizon. An island? It's coming closer. That's no island. It's a waterspout, and a big one. I've heard that sometimes a waterspout will go back up into the clouds, move inland, and rain fish down on people's heads. But they're most dangerous out here at sea. If it moved over my boat and all that water came crashing down, it would be the end of the Serafina. And of me.
Current. Sargasso Sea. Nutrient. Monsoon. Food chain. Trade winds. Navigation.
Even the biggest ships are no match for the awesome fury of a stormy sea.
Fiji rising out of the mist. Land at last. Fiji is really a series of 300 atolls and volcanic islands. I'm headed for the biggest island, Viti Levu. Sometimes it gets as much rain in a day as London gets in a whole year. What a way to restock my water supply.
Erosion. Trench. Earthquake. Tides. Atoll. Plate tectonics. Magma.
Many Pacific Islanders still rely on traditional fishing methods that have stood the test of time.
Winds over 90 miles an hour and huge waves crashing on deck. It's a typhoon. I've taken down all the sails, lashed the tiller to heave to, and set the heavy sea anchor. It's all I can do to keep the Serafina from capsizing.
Storm surge. Tropical depression. Atmospheric pressure. Radar.
From New England to Florida, the eastern seaboard of the United States is periodically ravaged by hurricanes.
You'll be glad to know the Serafina and I made it through the typhoon. I made good time to Sydney, Australia, then up the eastern coast to the Great Barrier Reef. This is the biggest reef in the world, with lots of islands and channels. Time to scuba!
Scuba. Great Barrier Reef. Algae. Photosynthesis. Polyp. Ecology.
Coral reefs are in danger everywhere. These are not just piles of rock we're destroying, but homes for thousands of species.
Yikes! I better be careful when I'm swimming around here. The northern beaches of Australia are one of the favorite haunts of the Australian sea wasp. Who wants to brush up against something that has tentacles that can kill you? That's it for this leg of the trip. Want to cross 2 more oceans with me to finish the journey? Then choose my next tour, and remember to duck your head when we tack, or you'll get clobbered by the boom.
Transparent. Venom. Tentacle. Larva. Medusa. Colony. Reproduction. Tentacle. Paralyze. Venom.
These creatures come in many colors, shapes, and sizes. Their sting is not often fatal to humans, but to a fish, an embrace can be deadly.
Time to cross the Indian Ocean and then the Atlantic. Ready for adventure? Let's go! What a welcome to the Indian Ocean. First the wind drops, and then I spot a couple of sea snakes off the port bow, each about 3 feet long. I've seen the fishermen around here with scars from being bitten. The ones who survived the experience, that is. I'm definitely not going in for a swim around here. Click my picture and let's move on.
Rudder. Reptiles. Gills.
Sea snakes can deliver a venomous bite. But rather than being a threat to humans, most snakes are endangered by people who sell their flesh and their skins.
I'm flying across the ocean on the monsoon winds. It's winter here in the southern hemisphere. To the north of me, India is dry at this time of year, but Indonesia and Borneo are soaking. You should see the whitecaps out here. Madagascar, here we come.
Monsoon. Current. Nutrient. Marine. Subtropics. Gondwanaland. Pollution. Desalination. Spreading center. Algae. Red tide. Vertebrates. Primitive. Delta. Subduction. Longitude.
Marine sanctuaries provide safe breeding grounds for many endangered animals, including the largest of all creatures, the blue whale.
Landfall at last. Madagascar. This amazing island's really a hunk of land that got stranded when the continents broke apart millions of years ago. It also used to be home to some pretty fierce pirates. At least, I hope that's used to be.
Freebooter. Corsair. privateer, buccaneer,
Hollywood's version of pirate life is a lot more glamorous and a lot less gory than it was in reality.
I'm off again, leaving the South African coast to starboard. A lot of sea turtles nest on South African beaches, but so many people visit those places that the poor turtles have a hard time surviving. Let's sail on by and leave them in peace.
breed, dinosaurs, mate, swamp, beach, crustaceans,
Turtle time in Costa Rica. These Ridleys risk their lives to climb up the beach, dig nests, and fill them with eggs. Then it's back to the sea until next year.
Help! I've been blown way off course in a storm at the Cape of Good Hope. But at least I've got a friend. A big albatross soaring above the mast. Sailors have always thought that the albatross brings good luck. I sure hope they're right.
circumnavigation, Cape Horn, krill,
What impresses a female? It all depends on the species. A male bird will go all out to show a potential mate just how wonderful he is.
Wow, that was a close call. The shipping lanes here in the Atlantic are full of huge freighters and tankers, and one of them just missed me. Wasn't there anyone on watch on the bridge? After crossing over 6,000 miles of the southern Atlantic Ocean, I've dropped anchor just off the beautiful island of Barbados in the West Indies. Time for a swim. But I'd better watch out for sharks and rays. Can you tell which is which?
pectoral fins, gills, Embryo. Camouflage. Threatened species. Extinction. Reproduction. Filter feeders.
Some sharks lay eggs, but others, like this one, give birth to live babies. These newborn sharks are fully formed and ready to hunt.
I made it through the Panama Canal and I'm sailing up the west coast toward home. Yep, I can see that I'm getting close to civilization again. It's such a beautiful world. It makes me angry to see us ruin it with pollution.
Pollution.
Pollution and destruction, wasteful exploitation. Unless we make this a thing of the past, our oceans may not have a future.
Home at last! More than a year at sea, sailing over 30,000 miles of ocean. It's time for the Serafina to get a well-deserved refitting job in the boatyard. And I can't wait to take a long, hot bath and eat some pizza. Thanks for coming with me. Maybe someday you'll take your own round-the-world sailing trip. In the meantime, explore all you want. And please take care of our wonderful oceans.
Current.
Hello, mates. I can call you mates, can't I? The name's Eli. Eli Higgins, that is, rightly. Choose one of these here tours and come on this venture with me. I'm not sailing alone, not me. Seems I'll be spending the year 1790 doing seaman's work on the merchant ship Bounty, and... Blimey, I don't know fore from aft, I don't. So, it's a square rigger like this I'll be calling me own. Sure looks like a lot of bed linen up there to me. Make sail! Hoist the royals, the quartermaster shouts. Oi, I say, hoist what royals? Me king and queen? Over me dead body, mate. It's treason, that is. Oh, you mean to say royals are the sails? Click me picture and let's see what else there's waiting to be learned.
Stern. Keel. Knot.
Through hard work and a lot of expertise, sailors can harness the awesome power of wind and water.
We're setting sail, bound for the Indian Ocean. Say, that's a long ways away. Sure hope this crew of blockheads knows how to reckon wind and current and such. Don't want to travel round in a circle out here. It's cold at sea, mates, and I'm about shivering in me breeches. What's that even out of the water? It's a bleaking sea monster! Looks like it's swimming from prehistorical times. Oh, I don't want to be no bloomin' dinner for no monster.
Sea monsters created by Hollywood are often more funny than frightening.
Then the first mate said there's even more creatures with big mouths in the sea. Mouths like you couldn't even imagine. Makes a man want to check his berth before he goes to sleep at night, I tell you. But oi, do you know what we seamen eat every day? Hardtack, cheese, and oatmeal and dried peas that we share with rats and maggots. Cook's gonna give me an extra ration of grog ears if I lose so much as one tooth biting into a rat's head.
Insects. Circumnavigation.
Warning! Viking ships off the coast. These daring sailors raided and plundered as well as explored.
I think I'll cast me line over the side and catch me some fish for dinner. But yoicks, there's some strange shaped ones out here. How do you tell that a fish be a fish? By the look in his eye, or what?
Nobody really knows how many species of fish are out there. We keep discovering new ones, like this rare megamouth shark, which belongs to a species that's millions of years old.
Some fish move real peculiar too, like they got wings. Or they flap their tails. Some poor fish can hardly swim at all. Just do a lot of paddling to stay in one place. Like me. And other fish are all spiky and look like floating hedgehogs. You wouldn't want to meet one of them on a dark night.
A tiny fish. A hungry eel. Care to bet on the winner? But wait! This balloon's too big to bite.
Of course, spiky fish are not so bad as them poisonous ones. If you eat them, they'll kill you flat and dead as the wooden decks of the Bounty Ann. Hey now, don't you leave me all alone. The sea's crawling with beasts that'll devour the likes of me. Come along on another trip with Eli. Choose quick and let's sail on, Swains. Else you're on your own, and good luck to you. I'm getting right used to the seafaring life now, I am. But every day's full of surprises. You'll see what I mean. Here's looking at you too, friend. Look what a mate stuck in me sleeping hammock. Nearly bit off me big toe, it did. Them crab claws are sharp as a surgeon's bone saw. But you know what? I stuck the crab in me mate's pea soup. Click me picture and we'll find us some more mischief.
Exoskeleton. Beach. Tentacle. Territory. Shellfish.
How do crabs pass the time? It's mostly eating and more eating. And then there's eating. Hey, get away from my food.
Oh, timber and tar, but there's a gale on us. Stow sails on the yards. Whose yards? I thought I left the yards back in England. Oh, the boys are climbing the rigging and hauling on the ropes. Glad it's not me up there in this foulest storm.
Tropical depression. Atmospheric pressure. Storm surge.
Oi, oops. The ship's rolling and pitching. The waves are as big as mountains. I do honestly regret every mean and wretched thought I ever had. Heaven preserve us miserable brutes from being shipwrecked on those rocks.
Never underestimate the power of waves. They're both destroyers and creators, constantly reshaping our shorelines.
Subduction. Harbor.
Well, of course, an expert sailor like Eli Higgins would stand his ground even in a storm, now wouldn't he? He wouldn't flee in terror. So, methinks me and the crew deserve a rest on this here tropical island. Of course, finding the way across the reef can be a bit tricky. Calamity and ravage. Eli's Rest has disappeared down the bilges. We're besieged by pirates. They say some of them lady pirates are even more fearsome than Captain Kidd. They're wielding muskets, pistols, hatchets and swords. Oh, have mercy on Eli Higgins. I fought 'em off. The brave and stalwart Eli Higgins stood his ground and fought off the evil pirates. Locked in hand-to-hand mortal combat, we were. Good thing we English have been using guns at sea since the 1500s.
U-boat. Quinquereme. Liburnian. Trireme.
Military personnel are usually the first on the scene of a disaster at sea. Many people owe their lives to these well-trained rescue crews.
It's time to put me feet up, it is, and whistle on a bosun's pipe. What? What's that you say? There's salty crocodiles in India where we're bound? You're pulling me leg, mate. That's about as likely as alligators in America. I wouldn't mind if you signed on again and moved us along on the last leg of this here journey. Old Eli right likes the company. Where are we supposed to end up, anyway?
Estuarine. Brackish. Swamp. Algae.
Well, what are you waiting for? Come on in for a swim. The water's fine. You don't mind a little crocodile company, do you?
A sailor's work is never done. Sun up to sunset we're slaving away. Oi, pick up that mop and set the swabbing, would you? Right. Quartermaster says scrub the deck. So we seamen go to work with mop and pail. Never know what you're gonna scrub off around here. Oi, how'd these squirts get on the foredeck? Hope the cook don't decide to stick 'em in the soup. Click me picture afore he sees 'em, quick.
Nutrient.
They take in water, squirt it back out, and eat and breathe as it passes through. Simple designs for marvelous animals.
Well, Captain's got this ship full of peacocks and spices that he traded for, so we're sailing home. But oi, what's this? It's raining fish. And what's that glow at the mast tops? Whoa! Flames are curling round. The ship's on fire. I can see it. Grab buckets of water, Swains. Hurl them aloft. Flames round the yardarms. Fire! Fire! Run for your life! So it was St. Elmo's fire, not a real one. Even saints make mistakes, you know. Like our trusty first mate. The other day, he was telling us that some male fishes have babies. Now I ask you, father's giving birth? He expects Eli Eggers to believe a yarn like that? Ho!
Mom contributes only the eggs. From then on, it's up to Dad. He gives birth to hundreds of babies. They're born hungry and looking for food.
Not easily fooled and proud to haul on a brace, am I? But this cook, he's always trying to pull one over on us, lads. Like telling us that a starfish blows out its stomach to suck up a clam. Must be Cook's own big stomach he's thinking of, it must.
Mollusks. Invertebrates.
Yep, Eli's learned a thing or two all these months at sea. You won't have me. Not easily.
Out of water, starfish rarely move, but in their element, most are powerful predators, sneaking up on their prey with sticky tube feet.
Yep, Eli's learned a thing or two all these months at sea. You won't have me swallowing any more tall tales. Why, squids will swim backwards before you'll have one over on me.
It can hover in one spot, change color in a flash, and zap its prey from a distance. An alien from outer space? Nope, it's a cuttlefish.
Pigment.
These days, now that we're almost home, I amble round the deck with perfect confidence. It's by no means the same Eli that left England. No, matey, I'm... Oi! Whoa! Where'd the boat go? Oi, mates, I fell overboard. Don't leave me here. There'd be sharks in these waters, and I got no coat of mail or iron bars to protect me. Blow me down. Look at old Eli now. I'm cruising home in style, mates, and I'm real sorry there ain't room for you. Blimey, why didn't someone tell me about these contraptions sooner? It's been a rare pleasure having you along on this voyage, mate. You can join me for another, or wander about on your own. Mayhap we'll meet up in a foreport sometime and share a grog or two.
My name's Curtis, and I rescue people for a living. When people think about dangers at sea, they think about hurricanes and shipwrecks and sharks. You know, all the really spectacular stuff. But it's usually the little things that get people in big trouble. Choose one of my tours and I'll show you what I mean. I see lots of poisoning accidents in my work. There are two ways to get poisoned. You can eat something that's poisonous, or a venomous animal can inject poison into your system. Believe me, you don't want to experience either method. Take red tide. Ever heard of it? Well, if you collect your own shellfish, you better listen carefully. Red tide is a rapid growth of a certain type of plankton. The plankton's waste products build up and poison shellfish in the area, which in turn can poison you. If you ever bite into shellfish and your lips start tingling, stop right there. That's often the first warning sign of shellfish poisoning. And eating more could paralyze your whole body. Click my picture and we'll move on.
Phytoplankton. Neurotoxin. Chlorophyll.
What is this manta ray doing? It's not dancing or playing, it's eating. And here's what it's swallowing: plankton soup.
Petroleum. We know that an oil slick can smother and poison animals, but did you know that petroleum can be poisonous to people too? You don't want to breathe the ocean spray near a major spill or eat anything that may have been contaminated by oil.
Gulf.
After colliding with a larger vessel in heavy fog, this fishing boat sank in less than a minute.
And then there's sewage and garbage. Oh, I know. Nobody wants to think about it and nobody wants to talk about it. That's part of the problem. People don't check into these things. Do you know where your drinking water comes from? What happens to your garbage after it's picked up? And yes, how about that seafood you ate last night? Of course, you can't keep track of the whole world, but you should at least find out about all these things in your own community. Okay, on to more pleasant topics.
Red tide. Immune system. Iceberg. Oceanography. Continental shelf. Spreading center. Abyssal plain.
Sailors think of the Sargasso Sea as sluggish water choked with weeds, but divers know this place is teeming with life.
Eddy.
Like an octopus, these little fellows are pretty to look at, but you should also know that they carry concealed weapons. Would you believe that every octopus has a sharp beak and venom? They can give you a nasty bite that you won't forget in a hurry. And a few, like this pint-sized blue ring here, can kill you. As far as I know, not a single person has survived the bite of a blue-ringed octopus.
An octopus likes to investigate its surroundings. It's an intelligent, curious creature, and a strong one, too.
And then there are shells. Divers sometimes forget that there are animals living in those gorgeous shells. And some, like this cone shell, kill their prey by shooting out poison darts. If you pick one up, you might just end up being its next victim. Besides sharks, can you think of other dangerous animals in the ocean?
Mollusks. Cephalopods.
What does a mollusk look like? There are more than 100,000 answers to that question because there are more than 100,000 kinds.
All right. I have to admit, these guys look dangerous, but you don't need to worry about them unless you're teasing them. You wouldn't do something foolish like that, would you? Keep in mind that many dangerous ocean creatures don't look dangerous at all.
Although some rays carry powerful weapons, divers find these graceful gliders to be gentle and fascinating companions.
Scavengers.
Here's a couple of them now. If you see globby-looking things floating on or near the surface of the water, do not dive in. You may see a jellyfish's body and think you can stay out of range, but their tentacles can dangle a long way below them, and they're nearly invisible. Some stings are so mild you'd hardly notice, but others can leave you in agony. The safe thing to do is to steer clear of these things, period.
Colony. Larva.
These creatures come in many colors, shapes, and sizes. Their sting is not often fatal to humans, but to a fish, an embrace can be deadly.
Here's another stinger you might not recognize. Fire corals come in different shapes and colors, so you're better off not touching any coral at all. Oh, it may not hurt at first, but once the pain starts, it could stay with you for days. Think about the worst sunburn you've ever had. The venom of fire corals can make you feel exactly like that.
Nematocyst. Reef. Great Barrier Reef.
How do sedentary animals reproduce? Here's one solution. Release egg and sperm packets into the current to create new life.
I don't have to tell you to stay away from this creature, do I? I didn't think so. Some dangers are pretty obvious. That's all I have to say for now. If you'd like to find out about other dangerous situations, choose another of my tours. Otherwise, you can go explore on your own. But be careful out there.
Rudder.
Sea snakes can deliver a venomous bite. But rather than being a threat to humans, most snakes are endangered by people who sell their flesh and their skins.
Most people aren't hijacked by pirates and thrown overboard. It's usually some silly accident that happens on their own boats. There have been some spectacular disasters at sea. Huge boats sinking, like this one, the Lusitania, which was torpedoed in 1915. But most of us don't have to worry about events like that. There are much more common, smaller disasters that put people into the water every day. Can you think of some? Click my picture and we'll see. Very dramatic, but not very likely unless you're working on an offshore oil rig and things get really out of hand. Well, yes. Here's one way that boats get into trouble. People sailing in the shipping lanes sleep on their watch, and sometimes wake up to find a gigantic ship about to split their boat in two. Not a pleasant surprise.
Current. Steerage. Kayak. Hull.
They're as tall as many buildings and as long as city blocks. Today's powered ships are cities at sea.
Some people get arms or legs tangled in the ropes while letting down a sail, or worse yet, when they're dropping anchor. And then there's the boom, that heavy pole that holds down the mainsail. Know why it's called a boom? Because that's the last sound people hear when they forget to duck.
Dow. Knot.
Through hard work and a lot of expertise, sailors can harness the awesome power of wind and water.
Commercial fishing boats are very dangerous places to work, and the crew has to be on their toes at all times. Hydraulic winches can drag you places you don't want to go, and there are often a lot of sharp objects around as well. I've seen a few boats flip while hauling in too heavy a catch, or sink afterwards because they were overloaded in heavy seas. And of course, you know the biggest danger if you end up in the water.
Migration. Endangered species. Marine sanctuary.
World Wildlife Fund helps to control pollution, restore ecosystems, protect endangered species, and preserve the incredible diversity of life.
Erosion.
Not even close. Sure, there may be big sharks in certain areas, but unless you've been throwing fish guts and blood into the water, you're not likely to meet one. No, you're letting your imagination run away with you. There's something completely different that you really have to worry about. I knew you'd figure it out. Assuming you're wearing a life preserver, hypothermia is your worst enemy. You don't even have to be swimming in the Arctic Ocean. Most seawater is substantially colder than your body temperature, and that's all it takes to gradually turn you into a human icicle. If you ever find yourself stuck in really cold water, stay as still as you can. The more you move, the faster cold water will take away your body heat.
Continent. Migration.
Bears that dive and swim. Whales with horns like unicorns. Seals that slide across the ice. These are just a few of the Arctic's predators.
Ice floe.
As they say in sports, or is it the Army, the best offense is a good defense. Make sure you have enough life-saving gear on hand for your whole crew and stay alert. That way you'll stay topside, warm and dry, and I won't have to fish you out of the water. Happy boating. If you want to find out about other dangers, choose one of my other tours. Otherwise, get out there and have fun exploring. I'm a diver myself, so I know that scuba diving is a wonderful sport, but it can be a dangerous one too. In diving, water pressure is one of your worst enemies. Learning how to balance your buoyancy control and your weight belt is crucial. If you go zooming up like a cork from a deep dive, you could end up with the bends, which can cause severe injuries or even kill you. Click my picture to see what's next.
Pressure.
In the days of helmets and air hoses, it took a whole crew to launch just one diver. But modern scuba gear has set divers free to explore on their own.
Nitrogen narcosis can happen at different water levels. It depends on the individual diver. It can even happen from getting bad air in your tanks. Nitrogen narcosis makes divers really stupid. They've been known to take regulators out of their mouths and to lose track of which way is up. If you start feeling confused, surface. But remember, not too fast, or you may make things worse by getting the bends. And if your dive partner starts doing silly things, she's probably not trying to amuse you. Take her up gradually to the surface.
Plankton.
Imagine life as an anemone. Clownfish might move in with you. You'd feed from the currents, wrestle with neighbors, and accept whatever comes along.
Of course, you know there are things down here with teeth. Morays usually don't bite except in self-defense, but once they latch onto something, they don't like to let go. I hope you know that it's not wise to tease anything with jaws like these.
Many ocean creatures have scary-looking teeth, but we sink our teeth into them far more often than they ever bite us.
Of course, you can't talk about diving without talking about sharks. A few do bite people every year, but it's rare. If nearby boats have been throwing food scraps into the water, watch out for sharks. They can smell food for a long way off, and they may come sniffing around for a handout. Make sure you're not the snack they're looking for. These guys don't bite, and while they're swimming, they're perfectly safe. It's the ones that are lying on the bottom that you have to watch out for. If you get whacked by a stingray's tail, you probably won't be able to pull the barb out yourself. You'll need to see a doctor, and you want to anyway, because those barbs are attached to venom sacs, and that stuff hurts.
Venom.
Ever put your finger into a light socket? I hope not. But if you get too close to an electric ray, you may get a good jolt. Their lightning power is designed to stun fish, though, and not people. So you're likely to be more surprised than injured. Now, I know that finding this kind of thing is nearly irresistible to divers. You just have to explore. But it's a very bad idea to swim into anything you're not absolutely sure you can get out of. And watch out for cables and sharp edges that can snag you or tear your air hoses. Now, I know that finding this kind of thing is nearly irresistible to divers. You just have to explore. But it's a very bad idea to swim into anything you're not absolutely sure you can get out of. And watch out for cables and sharp edges that can snag you or tear your air hoses. That's all for this tour. If you want to find out about poison or falling overboard, you can join me again. You can also go off on an adventure with one of the other expert guides or just explore on your own. But play it safe, so I don't have to rescue you.
Greetings, I am Zarka, a citizen of the planet Mars, a place where the intelligent forms of life live in liquid oceans. A team of our species, the Marisians, is conducting a study of water planets in your galaxy. Please choose a path and accompany me to assist. During my visit here, I have gathered visual images of marine specimens. I will include these virtual collections in my scientific report after my voyage is concluded. The beast in this image can alter its emitted wavelengths to match its surroundings. Ha! But could it also match the wavelengths of colors on my planet? Even colors like atmospheric cerule or pelagic pendenium, perhaps. Click my picture to cycle to the next image.
Every hue of the rainbow is represented here. Coral reefs are kaleidoscopic worlds of ever-changing colors and patterns.
This image brings sad memories. I had hoped that these two beautiful reef creatures would mate to create a new species. Unfortunately, the creature on the right ate the other after this image was taken. A rather aggressive specimen. I regret that I placed the two of them together. I understand I was extremely fortunate to obtain this image. These attractive beings are very rare and quite shy. Soon after I surprised them with this shot, they slowly fled into a forest of seagrass. Their innocence was rather disturbing. I suspect that they are easily preyed upon.
Sirenians. Threatened species.
They may not be mermaids, but these docile creatures have a grace and beauty all their own.
This amazing specimen has inspired the design of the next dwelling that I build. How very kind it was of this creature to mentally transmit a copy of the building plans to me. I believe that this handsome creature was attempting to attract my attention. It did have wonderful posture. Oh, and splendid pectoral appendages, which it used to crawl up next to me. Its efforts were valiant, but quite in vain. I already have a pet back on Mars, a hissing hyperfrena. quite similar to this species. This radiating beauty resembles the sun rossifers of my world, but unlike a rossifer, it has an excellent sense of smell, rather than a very offensive smell. I received chemical therapy for my pulled rostrum from this stunning individual. It was quite beneficial. It is regrettable that humans perceive its emissions as painful and not as healing stimuli. I thought this specimen might be a form of algae and made the mistake of trying to consume it. It possesses a very unpleasant flavor. I am still trying to rinse my taste receptors clean with neutralizing fluid. I have a new respect for this flat species of pleasing color.
Gastropods.
Think all worms are repulsive? Take a good look at these handsome specimens, and you may change your mind.
I am surprised that this image does not show the animals mate. They were never far apart. Humans apparently crave these vibrant fish for saltwater aquariums. I am content with these creatures' virtual images and do not need to possess the actual animal. That is the extent of my current collection. You may select another communication from my screen. You may also conduct independent studies or select another guide to assist you in your travels. Go forth in peace and harmony. Dear Aquatimus, my beloved other, how I miss you. I have seen such amazing things and wish to share them. Please accept these brief transmissions.
Insects.
Sea urchins can't run from predators, but their sharp spines provide a good defense most of the time.
What infinite delight. Look what I have found here. Our favorite sweets. Curiously, on this planet they are the basis of the entire oceanic food chain. I especially enjoy these cylindrical ones. Deliciously snaky. The crunchy fossils of these small plants are many, since their cellular walls are virtually indestructible. You requested that I send images of the humans that live here. The large ones with the spherical heads are the ones who have evolved the ability to survive underwater. The ones who must stay above water appear to have more fragile bodies. Sometimes these frail ones are seen in the depths in underwater craft, which they cannot leave. Aquatimus observed, ours is not the only planet plagued by the encrusting Warbna. Apparently these tenacious beasts are also found on Earth. Perhaps they arrived many millennia ago on the hulls of our sea thrusters when we first scouted the planet.
Host. Siri. Filter feeders.
Low tide, batten down the hatches. High tide, open up and eat anything you can catch. But watch out for that fish. A barnacle's life is not easy.
Adaptation.
Incidentally, humans know of our former settlement, which they call Atlantis. As you recall, this colony in the Mediterranean Sea sank after the eruption of a nearby volcanic island. The Earth name comes from our successful distortion of records, which located the colony in the Atlantic Ocean. So the station's actual ruins should be safe from looters.
Recovering sunken treasure takes skill and patience, but the fruits of all this labor can be breathtaking.
Many of the animals here are quite friendly and welcome our presence. These fish performed an exquisite ballet for our entertainment as we toured the Pacific Ocean. They were quite talented. Quatimus, do you recall that legend about the great Elakai's pet Hoombas escaping from an early scouting ship? Well, it appears to be true. Human documents show that these similar beings apparently were sighted on Earth. But I believe that they perished long ago, since no recent accounts make note of them. Like us, many sea creatures have gills that allow them to extract oxygen from seawater. Except for the spherical-headed ones, humans must get oxygen directly from air and process it through organs called lungs. It is surprising that they have achieved such dominance over a planet that consists of so much fluid. And lastly, my dearest Aquatimus, here is an image of my amiable guide. He has been an invaluable resource and possesses quite a sense of humor. He and his species are very eager for us to choose this planet as a colony. I must sign off now and return you to my view screen, where you may select from other transmissions. You are also free to voyage on your own. May your travels bring you enjoyment and knowledge.
When the ice melts from rivers in the Arctic, belugas move in. The adults are intent on fish. The calves are more interested in playing.
The relationships among the different forms of life on this planet are quite perplexing. Most curious of all are the land-dwelling creatures known as humans. They are constantly waging war against the other creatures on Earth. These humans capture great numbers of sea creatures. Some they consume to gain their energy. Others, apparently their enemies, they simply kill and discard. A very distressing tendency. Click my picture to continue this report. Humans often inundate sea creatures with poisons and debris. This can be very effective in annihilating their enemies. But do the humans not see that this practice harms themselves as well? Some humans use their underwater craft to venture deep into the sea. Do they seek knowledge or more prey species? It is unclear.
Ballast. Mid-ocean ridge. Hydrothermal vent.
With modern submarines and submersibles, we can finally explore the ocean depths. Scientists can now study new areas, like deep volcanic vents.
Perhaps they seek their lost possessions on the ocean floor. They seem to hunger for shiny minerals and antiquated objects, as well as for ocean creatures. These humans have an astounding capacity for destruction. Why? Perhaps they seek to emulate the explosive power of their planet, which at times erupts in violent displays of superheated gases and molten rock. Most perplexing. A few members of the order Cetacea have taken it upon themselves to educate humans. These are brave souls, indeed, given the fierce nature of their students.
Bow.
Like humans, dolphins are curious, intelligent, and playful. But these animals are a lot more graceful underwater than we are.
The cetaceans report that humans are exceedingly difficult to train and can only comprehend the simplest messages. I am glad we do not face such a challenge on our home planet. This concludes my report. To observe more information I have gathered in my travels, choose another tour from my screen, or you may voyage independently. This is Zarka, wishing you clean water and good health. The relationships among the different forms of life on this planet are quite perplexing. Most curious of all are the land-dwelling creatures known as humans. They are constantly waging war against the other creatures on Earth. These humans capture great numbers of sea creatures. Some they consume to gain their energy.
After I retired, I guess I spent too much time around the house. Get a hobby, my wife Elsie said. Get a job, get a pet, anything. Just get off the couch. So I started looking around for something new to do. What did I pick? Scuba diving. You wouldn't believe what's down there. Choose a tour and I'll show you. After we got our gear, the instructor says, "Okay, now we're going to learn to breathe underwater." Well, I think, I've got a tank full of air. How hard can it be? Let me tell you, it took a while to take that first breath. It's just not natural to inhale underwater, you know? When I finally did start, then all I could hear was the sound of my own breathing. So I breathed faster and faster until the instructor thumped me and held up a slate that said, "Slow down." Embarrassing, but I got the point. Once I mastered the essentials, I started noticing the wildlife. Even what looks like plain old sand is alive with animals. Some things move so quickly, you're not even sure you saw them to begin with. These garden eels, for example, zipped back down into their holes every time I came close.
Would you like to pet a moray? Just wave a fish and one may come out. This diver is lucky. Some eels bite fingers instead of the fish.
Appearances are deceiving down here. Nothing is what it looks like. These fish pretend to be plants. I didn't even see them until I ran my hands over them. It's a good thing a pipefish can't hurt you if you mistake one for a leaf.
Parasites.
Hide and seek. It's not for fun. In nature, this is a game of life and death.
But a fake rock can really zing you if you're fool enough to put a hand or a foot on it. One of these lumps is a harmless anglerfish. The other's a deadly stonefish. Yes, sir, you gotta keep your eyes open at all times down here. It's a whole different world than you see from the surface. Take kelp. That rubbery-looking stuff you don't want to drive a boat through. Underwater, it's a whole forest, just with fish flying around instead of birds. A wonderful place, full of all kinds of surprises.
Nutrient. Phytoplankton. Dinoflagellates. Chlorophyll.
An undersea forest, dappled with light and constantly moving. What a wonderful place to live.
On the bottom, I saw this really nice big crab, and I thought, wouldn't I like to have that guy over for dinner? So after a brief chase, I nabbed him. But no sooner did I get my hands on him when something grabbed me with a long, sticky arm. An octopus. That guy clamped onto the crab with one arm and clamped onto my wrist with another. Hey, I can beat this boneless wonder, I thought, so I pulled. Next thing I knew, it had grabbed onto my other arm, had wrapped two arms around my leg, and had another arm tugging at my air hose. I was all out of arms. It still had two to go. To make a long story short, Elsie and I had spaghetti for dinner. The octopus had the crab. That's all for this story, but I've got a million others. Choose one of my other tours if you'd like to hear more. Or explore on your own and come back later. Just remember, breathe slowly and be sure to go up for air before your tank's empty. While we were on a vacation in Bermuda, my dive buddy and I decided to go on a deep dive to a reef more than 100 feet down, deeper than we'd ever been before. What a great reef! The water was so clear, even at that depth. I'd never seen such beautiful sponges before. I looked around for my buddy to show him these incredible purple tubes.
Spicules. Sedentary. Filter feeders. Current.
These are among the oldest animal types on Earth. Over millions of years, sponges have evolved into an astounding variety of species.
I couldn't see my buddy, which is always bad news. But then I wasn't looking very hard. I was very distracted by this eagle ray that swooped by, giving me the eye. Maybe I was in his territory. Or was it her territory? Anyway, it was a marvelous creature. Then my buddy swooped by with some newfound pals. "Hey!" I yelled. Well, actually, it was more like... I was trying to tell him, stop playing around with that manta ray. Don't leave me down here. My buddy let go and started flapping his arms, giving me a strange signal that could have meant almost anything from "I'm having a heart attack" to "something's about to eat you." Come to find out, he meant, "Hey, look what's coming." Out of nowhere, this gigantic shark cruised past me like a nuclear submarine. I completely forgot the 2 rules of diving: stay calm and breathe. In fact, I nearly swallowed my regulator. Just when my heart had finally stopped pounding, we heard a rumbling sound off in the distance. It got louder and louder, sounded like something even bigger was headed our way. My buddy and I were quaking in our swim fins, hanging on to each other, when the monster finally burst into sight. A submarine! Wouldn't you know that tourists would show up just when we were losing our cool? I felt a little foolish and a little dizzy, too. Elsie, darling, what are you doing here? I thought you were waiting up on the boat. You look different, dear. Is that a new hairdo? Everything came out gleep, glub, 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 glub. It's hard to talk with a regulator in your mouth. Suddenly, my buddy pulled me away from her and started hauling me up. "Rapture of the deep," he said later. "Nitrogen narcosis." "You were doing really weird things," he told me. You mean to tell me," I said, "you didn't see what I saw?" "That cuttlefish?" he asked. "I wondered why you were staring at that. You looked like you were in love." I don't think I'll tell Elsie about this. Want to hear another dive story? Then choose one of my other tours. But if you'd like to swim off with one of the other guides or explore on your own, I won't mind. It's a big ocean and there's a lot to see. Just remember to keep breathing. Daytime diving is plenty exciting, but once my dive buddy and I decided to go on a night dive for a challenge. It's weird, wonderful, and very claustrophobic. You'll see what I mean. A lot of animals are nearly invisible during the day, but at night it's next to impossible to find them. We almost swam into these things before we saw them. Talk about hiding. These fish didn't even act like fish at night. They were just hanging nose down in the water, pretending to be, well, who knows what. Do fish have imaginations? Maybe they just felt like doing headstands for a while. During the day, what you notice most are the fish because they're usually the most colorful. Well, they're still around at night, of course, but you don't necessarily see them, so you have time to notice other animals, like these guys. I knew the thing on the left was a sea squirt, but what was that other critter anyway? Looked like something I saw in a science fiction movie once. Swallowed a spaceship, as I recall.
Larva. Embryo.
It was beautiful down there, and the different types of animals we saw were amazing, like these corals. Before I started diving, I thought all animals had legs. Boy, was I wrong. You're always wondering what other sorts of critters are just beyond the reach of your flashlight. These might be out there, maybe dozens of them. Well, all right, probably not. But when you can't see more than a few yards, your imagination tends to fill up the darkness with all kinds of monsters. You've heard of a feeding frenzy with sharks? Well, we swam right into this mating and egg-laying frenzy. I've never seen anything like it on land. I'm not sure I'd want to see anything like it on land. There were hundreds of squid, and they laid more eggs than would fit in my backyard. I used to think all starfish had 5 legs and crawled around on the bottom, but not since I've seen these. And that sponge glowing purple under the brittle star, that's called phosphorescing. And quite a few critters down here can do it, like fireflies of the deep. Even beyond the reach of the flashlight, we could see little flashes of light. These diatoms were all lit up, and some kinds of fish had lights on them too. It was sort of like floating in space, looking at stars. It was magical. And it was over all too soon, just like this tour. Pick one of my others to go on a different dive with me, or get out there and explore on your own. You're never too old or too young to learn something new.
Hi, my name's Rebecca, and I'm an oceanographer. Choose a tour and let me share with you some of the amazing things I've learned. When I was a kid, I wanted to be either an astronaut or an oceanographer. Instead of a space traveler, I chose to be an aquanaut, a water traveler in the oceans. You'd be surprised how many similarities there are between working in the oceans and working in outer space. Satellite navigation is a fantastic breakthrough in studying the oceans. It allows us to pinpoint where we are, even when we're hundreds of miles from the nearest land. Isn't it ironic that devices in outer space help us find our way around the ocean? Click my picture to find out more. Pictures taken by satellites and by astronauts in space are invaluable to scientists on Earth, too. Now we have visual proof how a process on land like logging, farming, or manufacturing can affect the rivers and oceans. It's amazing what you can see if you just back off 200 miles. Each time I step into a submersible, I feel like I'm inside a shuttlecraft. We have to worry about life support, communications, propulsion, All the same things that you'd have to keep track of as a space traveler. You know how we've sent out spacecraft to try to map other planets? Well, it's nearly as hard to map the bottoms of oceans on our own planet. After all, the ocean bottom is miles below the surface in many places, and the water pressure is far too great for any human to explore down there. To see what things look like miles below the surface, we have to let machines do the exploring. This is Jason Jr. exploring the wreck of the Titanic in 4,000 meters of water. That's over 13,000 feet below the surface. Jason and robots like him can transmit pictures and other data, so although we have to stay on the surface, we can see what the robot sees. Controlling these robots from the surface takes a little practice, too. Imagine playing a video game through a cable that's miles long. We can also use sonar to find out about the shapes and distances of objects around us, including those on the ocean floor. It's amazing to think that you can draw a map by bouncing sound off of surfaces, isn't it? Of course, this guy wouldn't think we're so technologically advanced. Dolphins have always been experts at using sound to navigate. Some tests show that blindfolded dolphins can not only tell where an object is, but what it is, how dense it is, and even whether or not it has another object inside of it. Sometimes I'm not so sure that people are the most intelligent life forms on this planet.
If a hammerhead is on your trail, you'd better hide, and fast. But hiding is no guarantee of safety. Hammerheads can even find a fish that's buried in the sand.
It truly is like a different planet down here. Check out this volcanic vent. Most life on Earth depends on photosynthesis, the conversion of light into energy. Plants get their energy from light, other animals get energy from eating those plants, and so on. But life around volcanic vents is unique. Chemosynthesis, the conversion of chemicals into energy, is the rule here, not photosynthesis.
Desalination.
It's calm now, but storms, fires, and leaks on and around oil rigs can spell disaster for both workers and the environment.
It truly is like a different... My friend Anita is a marine biologist, but she comes to me all the time with questions about physical oceanography. She's learned a lot from me about currents and tides, and I've learned a lot from her about how they affect the plants and animals that she studies. It took people quite a while to find out about currents like the Gulf Stream, and then it took them even longer to find ways to work with currents and not against them. Seems like some animals had this figured out a long time ago. Anita's done a lot of research on eel migrations and asked me plenty of questions about Atlantic currents in the process. Her studies have helped unravel the mystery of how eels reproduce. I guess that makes her Sherlock Holmes and me Dr. Watson. Many ocean animals that are fixed in place couldn't reproduce without currents. That includes animals like these that don't even look like animals. These creatures also depend on currents and tides to deliver their food to them.
Looks like a bountiful garden, doesn't it? Surprise! Many of these plants are actually animals.
The food they eat is called plankton. That's a whole group of tiny plants and animals that drift on currents. If plankton suddenly disappeared, Anita would be out of work because all of the marine creatures she studies would also disappear as a result. It just goes to show that you don't have to be big to be important. Have you ever wondered how the animals that live on remote islands got there in the first place? Biologists do, and when it comes to the marine iguanas that live in the Galapagos Islands, they think that currents are the answer. They believe that these reptiles may have drifted to the Galapagos on natural rafts, like logs or clumps of seaweed.
Lizards in seawater? Why not? There's just one problem: how to get rid of all that salt. Here's a solution: just sneeze it out.
Currents aren't the only kind of water movements that ocean animals have to deal with. Just imagine the pounding that animals that live near the shore have to take. These are tough creatures.
Inlet. Floodplain. Erosion.
Birds nest and feed in the branches. Fish and sea turtles grow up among the roots. If we destroy these swamps, where will all these creatures go?
One thing that we are constantly learning in oceanography is that everything on Earth is connected. Have you ever wondered what happens to all of the rain and snow that falls on the land? Well, most of it gets dumped back into the ocean by rivers. Some animals have adapted quite nicely to life in these areas where fresh water and salt water meet. If only people could be that flexible. You can learn more about the science of oceanography by selecting one of my other tours now. You can also hook up with another guide or drift off to experience the oceans on your own. Wherever you go, have fun.
Photosynthesis. Marsh. Salt water.
It's a tough life. Creatures that live near the shore are pounded by surf and strong currents, and may be attacked by predators both in and out of the water.
Tidal pool. Adaptation. Storm surge.
When people talk about oceanography, they're not just talking about one kind of job, but thousands. I'll show you what I mean. My friend Sam has a great job. He hangs out at the beach. Sam studies coastal erosion. He tries to figure out how waves and currents and storms move sand around. He's always telling people not to build houses so close to the shore. Of course, most of them don't listen to him. Then they're upset when waves show up on their front porch. Click my picture to hear what other oceanographers do. Anita, a marine biologist I know, is studying horseshoe crabs for biomedical research. She helps capture the crabs and takes blood samples from them to help find cures for bacterial diseases that affect people. Don't worry, the crabs are released afterwards. And you know what? Their blood is blue. Here's another ocean creature that interests biologists. The lumps on this female fish are actually males that have attached themselves and then become part of her body. If we could figure out how they do that, maybe we could solve the problem of organ rejections after transplant operations in humans.
Bioluminescence.
Anglerfish are expert fishermen. Some have special decoy fins. Some built-in fishing poles. Either way, the result's the same. Down the hatch.
My colleague Bruce studies currents by tracking icebergs. He tracked this huge one that drifted north from Antarctica. After a while, it went back south again. Then it broke into 3 giant pieces. One piece even floated back to Antarctica and grounded itself on the continental shelf. The other 2 eventually drifted north again and finally melted. As Bruce can tell you, icebergs sure get around. Like Bruce, I'm a physical oceanographer, which means that I study how the oceans move. So I'm sometimes called in to help figure out which way oil spills will travel. It's interesting to see models of ocean currents confirmed, but it's heartbreaking to see the animals that get harmed by a spill. I often help out at wildlife centers cleaning the animals, but there's so many that just don't make it.
shellfish, an otter's favorite meal. Just pick up a rock with your dinner and then hammer away. It takes a strong stomach to eat like this.
I know an oceanographer, Jeff, who monitors tsunamis. He told me this amazing story about one that hit the Aleutian Islands in 1946. An underwater landslide caused by an earthquake generated a 100-foot-high tsunami. Unfortunately, a lighthouse was directly in its path. The entire building was washed away, and so were the 5 men who were playing cards inside. You can also be an oceanographer and study weather, like another friend of mine. Want to know what the record is for rainfall in a 24-hour period? In 1952, more than 6 feet of rain fell on La Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean during a tropical cyclone. Some of the world's deserts could take decades to match that kind of rainfall. That's all for this tour. If you'd like to hear more about oceanography, choose one of my other tours. Or feel free to explore on your own. You'll be amazed at what you'll find.
All right, well, that's all the guides, so we're gonna quickly take a look at all the other tabs. As I've said, the guides pretty much showed you all the different creatures, but I will still take a look around, make sure we didn't miss any of the pages. So let's go back to the contents, and let's check out marine life first.
A tiny fish. A hungry eel. Care to bet on the winner? But wait! This balloon's too big to bite. Looks like this fish's camouflage has fooled yet another victim. But wait! That's a pufferfish. No thanks.
And over here we have the amazing Dory from Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Oh, she is gone. Oh my god.
beak-like mouth, horns, flat bottom, funny little fins. Yep, that's a boxfish. Walruses love to lounge on ice floes, and frigid Arctic waters are the perfect place to play and hunt. Everyone into the pool. They may not be mermaids, but these docile creatures have a grace and beauty all their own.
Molt.
Being a penguin parent is not easy. You have to keep the chicks off the ice. And it's a long hike to the fishing hole for dinner. Flamingos strain shrimp and other small creatures from the water. No food, no flamingos. Once you've seen nudibranchs, you'll never again think of slugs as ugly. These beauties can even swim.
Trawl.
Shrimp have fabulous faces, incredible colors, and shapes of every kind. You didn't really think they all came on a plate, did you? Low tide, batten down the hatches. High tide, open up and eat anything you can catch. But watch out for that fish. A barnacle's life is not easy. The survival of marine species depends on diversity. If you think the health of the ocean's food web only affects ocean creatures, then you'd better think again. The ocean floor offers all kinds of environments, from reefs to seaweed to sand and even volcanic vents. All this life around a volcanic vent? Incredible! What other deep-sea secrets remain to be discovered? Building a seaside cottage at the Bay of Fundy? Better survey above the high water mark. The difference here between low and high tides can cover a 4-story building. bears that dive and swim. Whales with horns like unicorns. Seals that slide across the ice. These are just a few of the Arctic's predators. The relics of ancient civilization are found throughout the Mediterranean. How many centuries have passed since this pottery held anything but seawater? The Antarctic is not a comfortable place to do research, unless you love blustery winds, lots of ice, and blinding snow.
Okay, that's a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie.
They're watching us while we're watching them. If we think they're odd-looking, what do they think of us? The lives of ocean animals are intertwined. Cleaner fish are fed, while groupers are groomed, and clownfish snuggle up to anemones. How can a soft-bodied octopus protect itself from a toothy attacker? Shoot out a cloud of ink and jet away. It's the only hope. Like their ancestors, many modern Polynesians still use wind power to travel long distances. Muscle power does the trick for shorter trips. Transportation, a home, a place of business. For many Asians, a boat fills all these needs. Good designs stand the test of time. Modern Egyptians still sail dhows along the Nile River, just as their ancestors have done for centuries.
Bad news. The ribbon eel ate the crab and the octopus. The boxfish nibbled on the tube worm and the sponge. The starfish pried open the scallop and ate it. The goldfish died. Goldfish belong in fresh water, not in salt water. Good job. You've balanced the life in your aquarium, and everything should survive as long as you pay attention to water temperature and chemistry. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Sorry. The arrow crab tore the bristle worm apart and then ate. Good job. Whoops. The boxfish nibbled on the tube worm and the sponge. Good job. Good job. You've balanced the life in your aquarium. Whoops. The ribbon eel ate the octopus. Good job. Whoops. The starfish pried open the scallop and ate it. Good job. You've balanced the life in your aquarium.
Its sounds are a natural symphony. Its motion soothes us. Its colors and its creatures delight our eyes. For inspiration and relaxation, we can always depend on the sea. Beaches are wonderful places to explore nature. But remember, you're just a visitor here. Leave nothing behind but footprints. Let's go underwater for a close encounter with some fascinating animals. A fish that walks? Why not? Mud skippers crawl on their fins to eat out of water or to move to a new pool. Fascinating fish. Hiding out and staying hidden takes hard work and a little ingenuity. Hey, shut that door! Scuba divers quickly discover that they're not the biggest creatures in the sea. It's a good thing most ocean giants are gentle. Delicious! Most people love lobsters for dinner. But if we want to keep catching them and eating them, we must protect them too. Target shooting comes naturally to an archerfish, But the fish that hits the target is not always the one that gets to eat it. Albatrosses for dinner? No need to pluck. Hungry sharks will eat them as is. What's in a name? Just ask the lumpsucker. Goatfish, sea cucumber, brain coral, porcupine fish, hammerhead, lionfish, or the brown booby. People sometimes forget that the oceans provide us with food and a means of transportation. It's recreation that first comes to mind. Surf's up! Others may be fooled by its leafy appearance, but this sea dragon never forgets that it's a living, eating animal.
Unemployed people in your area continue to expect your government to assist them. You have to hire guards to keep tourists out of the sanctuary during nesting season. Unemployed people in your area picket your office, saying that you believe animals are more important than people. Environmental groups applaud your decision, and your town wins an award for providing a marine sanctuary. More sea turtles come back every year. The project provides temporary jobs for construction crews and low-wage jobs later on for people in your area. Your government benefits from the taxes. Environmental groups picket your office, and some activists call you a turtle killer. Because other governments in the same area have made the same decision, the sea turtles are now extinct. The new complex provides some jobs and some new tax money for your government. Unemployed people in your area continue to expect your government to assist them. You have to hire guards to keep tourists out of the sanctuary during nesting season. Unemployed people in your area picket your office, saying that you believe animals are more important than people. Environmental groups criticize your decision for not providing enough protection. Sea turtles come back every year, but not in great numbers. They're disturbed by the nearby lights and noise, and people and their pets keep intruding upon the turtle nesting area. You have to tax the entire community to pay for the seawall. Most of your people complain that you're stealing their money to bail out rich homeowners. The seawall is working, but the waves are gradually undermining it. It'll need to be replaced in approximately 5 years, or sooner if the area is hit by violent winter storms. The homeowners have to abandon their seaside homes. They sue your government for not protecting their property. The homeowners mount a campaign against you, accusing you of mismanagement of public resources. The waves gradually sweep the expensive homes out to sea. Beach habitats used by birds and other animals are also lost to the waves. Your government pays for the new properties and the cost of relocation, depleting your treasury. The homeowners claim that the new properties are of lesser value, and they sue your government for the difference. The homeowners mount a campaign against you, accusing you of mismanagement of public resources. The waves gradually sweep the expensive homes out to sea. Beach habitats used by birds and other animals are also lost to the waves. None of the fishing crews make enough money to sustain them for a whole year. They expect your government to help support their families. Environmental groups criticize your decision for not providing enough protection. The fishing industry accuses you of trying to put them out of business and of destroying a traditional way of life. More fish have spawned than in years before, so there are more babies and a few more adult fish at the end of the season. It'll be several years before the baby fish are big enough to be commercially valuable. The fishing crews are out of business for a year. They expect your government to support them and their families during that time. Environmental groups criticize your decision for not providing enough protection. The fishing industry accuses you of trying to put them out of business and of destroying a traditional way of life. More fish have spawned than in years before, so there are more babies and a few more adult fish at the end of the season. It'll be several years before the baby fish are big enough to be commercially valuable. Over the next few years, the fishing crews catch fewer fish and earn less money than ever. They accuse your government of mismanaging the fish stock and demand that you pay them damages. Environmental groups criticize your decision as giving in to big business. There are very few fish left in the area. It'll be decades until they make a comeback. Other fish-eating animals, such as seals and seabirds, have also disappeared. All fishing crews demand that your government pay their wages for 3 years. The fishing industry accuses you of trying to put them out of business and of destroying a traditional way of life. Environmental groups applaud your decision. The fish population doubles in 3 years. Fishing crews demand to start fishing again.
Imagine laying an egg like this. And hatching from it isn't easy either. Phew! Hey, where'd they go? You'd better look fast if you want to see these guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth gameplay or playthrough of Microsoft Oceans. We learned so much about marine life, the different oceans, how to help the environment. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts, and of course subscribe for more nostalgic gaming. Don't forget to check out Dangerous Creatures on this channel as well. It is a super cool game and one of my favorites. So go check it out if you want to learn about animals. Remember, you are special and loved, you are never alone, and you're always welcome to come back and hang out anytime. Until next time, from me and Dory, God bless, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye, my friends.